The secret of getting ahead is getting started.
Hi, my name is Andreia on Dreamcatcher Radio for Beyond the Cover show every Monday between 12 to 1:30 p.m. I discuss all things about book, literature, and writing while sharing my passion for music and creativity. I love hearing from listeners, so please email me on andrea@dreamcatcherradio.co.uk.
George Eliot inspired us with, "It's never too late to be what you might have been."
Hello everybody and welcome back to the show Beyond the Cover with me, Andreia, as the presenter on Dreamcatcher Radio. And today I've got another non-fiction self-publishing author, and she's amazing with the great energy. So her name is Julie Harris. She's originally from Ottawa, in Canada, and currently she lives in West Sussex, England. The country has a long history of human settlement dating back to the lower Paleolithic era. During the Roman conquest of Britain, Romans conquered the Atrebates, West Saxons indigenous Britons, and incorporated the area as a Roman province. During early Middle Ages, the Saxons settled the area, establishing the Kingdom of Saxons in 477, which lasted until c. 827, when the kingdom was annexed by Wessex. It is home to Gatwick Airport, the UK's second busiest airport by total passenger traffic. The country has a number of stately homes, including Goodwood, Petworth, House of the Oak Park, and castles such as Arundel Castle and Brandon Castle. So today, Julie, for those to know, Julie used to own a pub, and after some years working with people, she decided to write a book about her experiences working in pubs. Her current book is called Lies, Theft, and Shit on the Ceiling. According to her website, which she will provide at the end of the interview, she describes the book like this: a brutally funny true story of pub ownership, kitchen chaos, criminal customers, and one Canadian woman wondering what the hell she have done. Part memoir, part cookbook, completely true. Thank you so much, Julie, to come up to my show. It's really my honor. Would you like to say anything extra?
No, but basically I'm a Canadian who came to England and somehow ended up buying an English pub despite knowing just enough to be dangerous, and survived years and years of complete chaos, and realized the funniest and most unbelievable stories weren't made up. They actually happened. So these stories eventually became Lies, Theft, and Shit on the Ceiling. Again, a memoir about pubs, food, people, and what happens when optimism collides head-on with reality.
That sounds already intriguing for you to begin a show. So thank you so much. Now, my first question will be, and I ask this every single author come to my show: how would you describe your writing process?
Well, this all happened by accident, to be fair. So while I was running the pub, I always wrote in a journal about, things that are going on in the day. And when I bought the pub, this journal became fatter and bigger and fatter and bigger. And I'm like, oh, so about 5 years ago, my partner and I went through our stuff because we were moving, and we saw these journals, and we're like, well, should we chuck these out? And we started reading it. And we thought how funny that we should make this in a book. So we kept them aside. And then about 3 years ago, we took a story at a time in earnest and paired it with a recipe. And basically made the book.
Would you say when you are writing in physical or on your notebook, as you mentioned right now, was it any way or any time when you're writing difficult to writing? Would you say would you have difficult to write them? Is there anything else that you find difficult?
Well, getting the humor right. I have a very dark sense of humor, and it might not appeal to a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
so it's about getting the humor right was what difficult. But the great thing about pub stories is you weren't short of subject matter. You had tons and tons of information. I could have written 2 books for the amount of stories we put together. So.
All right, fantastic. So, during your publishing book, have you ever considered writing under a pseudonym, and why or why not? Would you say?
Oh God, no! I don't think I would do a pseudonym. Only because I'm happy to be a complete idiot in front of everyone. So, yeah, no, I'm happy. But I mean, I've done a bit of ghostwriting for other people, but that's as far as it goes. So.
Oh, how would you? Very interesting that you touched now about ghost writing. How would you describe that if you can share, of course?
Yeah, of course. So a couple of folks asked me to. They had this story and they said, okay, can you make it longer, or can you refine the language to this particular audience? And that's basically what I would do for these folks. I did a bit of speech writing for the Canadian government back in the old days. So writing has always been an absolute passion of mine, but I've never actually been published, if that makes sense, until last week. So.
I see, very interesting. As you might know, sometimes we writers we have these what's called writer's block. So my question would be as well: how would you deal with the writer's block?
Talk to my nieces.
Oh.
They're these gangbusters. It's Isabel and Amelia, and they are so full of energy. They're young and so full of energy, and I will always bounce some rated PG content, and they'd be like, "Well, what do you think about this?" And they go completely out of the box. That's the great thing about kids. They don't think in tunnels. They think in massive situations. And just having a few minutes chats with them will get me outside of this writer's block, this box of doom, as I called it, and they would force me to think outside the box.
That's a very way to describe writing's block. What you just said, the tunnel of doom. Yes,
it's the box of doom, is what I call
yes, yes, because yes, it's so well described. Because sometimes it overwhelms us as writers. And I can imagine if someone is already in their editing process, which I actually am at the moment as well myself. It's just these moments when we say, okay, do we have everything we need? Is this right? How can I do in this situation? Is this correctly? Is this correctly the way I want to go? It's so many ways, yes.
Oh, and there's the tone and there's the subject matter, and it's like, and what was really difficult about this book is every story is so different. So, do you keep the tone the same? Do you keep the story voice and language the same? Because every story has its own heart, its own brain. That I found quite difficult.
Since you're publishing your book right now, and it's already very recognized very well because I watched your videos on TikTok, and you are popular, I think, as above how was his name now? Jamie Oliver, which is really fascinating.
He was just above me, so
yeah.
He was 6, I was 7.
Yes, it's really fascinating. We are very close now.
Yeah, I've dropped a little bit since then, but hopefully we work our way back up. So, my goal, just like Uncle Roger, is to beat Jamie Oliver.
Oh, I know that guy. I watched some videos of them. Oh, yes, he's
got a book coming out in November. So.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So, what would you say is your favorite and last favorite part of publishing?
You know what? I tried to do traditional publishing and sent my manuscript to a million people, and heard from no one, and that's this ghosting. But I completely understand why publishers do that. I mean, with this new AI thing, I'm a bit old. I don't. AI, like my nieces introduced me to AI to do the caricatures in the book, but. I mean, I think with AI being so powerful, I think a lot of people are using it to write. And I think publishers are being inundated with all this vomit of writings. So you get lost in the trenches if you're an unknown author. And I find that really disappointing and really difficult. And not my favorite part. But my favorite part was when I decided I'm going to self-publish. I'm going to get this out here somehow. And I decided to self-publish. The power you have to, within your own, you keep all the power and you keep all the control. And that is actually very motivating and very fun to find, the intricacies of self-publishing through Amazon or Ingram Spark, Barnes & Noble, that sort of thing.
All right, so since you touched on AI right now and the disappointment with that, what is your, in more detail, if you could provide it, of course, your opinion about AI? Because yes, I personally agree it's getting too much on the creative process. I think that's really, really bad. Yeah. Because if you tell me, I created a book, but I use AI, I'll be like, how did you create it? Why did you use AI in the first place? Yeah. But I'd like to know your opinion.
Well, I try to, when my nieces introduced me to this AI thing, the book was 90% written. Like, the book was 90% written 3 years ago before AI became AI, really. So I thought, well, let me see how powerful it is. So I uploaded a couple of my chapters and said, could you edit this? And they ripped it apart in a bad way. Like, they made it very generic, the tone's taken away. I'm like, this isn't good. And I didn't realize you have to do prompts and stuff and get really into intricacies. And I played around with it, and I wasn't really, really happy. Mm-hmm. But what it was good for me was with the caricatures. So I uploaded the story and say, could you provide a funny caricature that goes with the story? Mm-hmm. And it was brilliant, because I can't draw. I have no imagination for any kind of artsy stuff. So that's where it was really, really powerful for me. And then the other thing is, I just asked it to do spelling mistakes, like doing a quick check on spelling mistakes and grammar, as well as duplication of names. Like, mm-hmm. if I use the same name, because I changed the names throughout, because some of the stories are really nice. Yeah, and I didn't want to tick off my village too much. So I changed the name. So they found a couple of inconsistencies that way. So in that way, I think it's really powerful. But back to what you were saying, Andrea, the creative aspect gets killed, I think, in AI.
Yeah.
The tone.
Yes, the tone, yes, because the AI can literally just change your tone. Yeah. Because they don't know you as an author.
Yeah, if I want to, sound more like, Anthony Bourdain, and then versus you put it into AI and they make you sound like some politician, it doesn't click well.
Yeah, it doesn't. And with AI and how are the concerns about how it's literally, I would say, evading creativity, I think it's a good moment for us to pause a little bit. And could you just please introduce your first song, please?
The first song, I have to say, is called Julie, Do You Love Me? It takes me straight back to when I was little, and my dad used to sing it to me. And every time I hear it, I can still hear his voice.
So much fun together. I was Till then, I'll write you every day. Oh, Julie, 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 do you love me? Oh, Julie, 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 do you care? Come on, Julie, Julie, are you thinking of me? Julie, Julie, will you still be there? Oh, Julie, 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 do you love me? Julie, 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 do you care?
Well, and it was Bobby Sharman. Julie, do you love me? It's a very I say and tweak no on tweak with like a very old songs, but I think it does really have his charm. Very, very his charm. So well, thank you so much for bringing it up, Jill. I really appreciate it. So, Sais will still continue to ask you about your writing process, etc. So, what would you say to an author who wanted to design their own cover?
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to say AI was a really big help with all the creative artwork for my book. But you have to be really, really specific as to what you want and how you want it. It took me, I'd say, 3 weeks of basically throwing things at Claude and ChatGPT to try and get the look that I wanted. So yeah, very, very powerful support there.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of designing your own cover, if you're really artistic, put your passion into it. Do it yourself, because then you have a lot more connection to your book. Or ask a friend, family member who is artistic and is very close to your subject matter to help you do that, which I didn't, but AI helped me a lot, but it took a long, long, long time.
Yeah, understandable. So, how would you use the social media as an author? How do you use?
Well, I didn't, I wasn't really big on social media until about 2 months ago. So, I had a Facebook, which I used as my travel diary. And every time I traveled, so I'm a big traveler. I love to travel. I'm a foodie. I love to eat food and travel for food. So I started doing these travel posts, and I got a really great following in Facebook. People would actually eventually stop me and Andy in the street. Andy's my partner, and say, "Hey, you're gravy stains." And like, yeah. Oh, I've been reading you all weeks, because I'd give a daily update of what I'm doing in that country. And
Yeah.
and the greatest thing was when locals would come up to me and say, "Oh, thank you so much for saying great things about my town." And because we do really odd travels, we don't go into main towns or main cities. We like to do a bit more less touristy travel. So when we showcase these little villages and towns, the locals really appreciate that. So that started happening about 4-6 months ago. And then I was speaking to a colleague, a marketing colleague of mine, and said, "Well, are you on TikTok? You need to do TikTok." So about 5-6 weeks ago, I set up my TikTok account, and I've hit over 600,000 views in a month. And I'm like, what? So yes, definitely authors use social media to the hilt. Personalize, sell yourself, not your book, is, I think, the way forward here. And the book is just the bonus. So if they like you, they'll buy your book. And that's my advice.
Yeah, I think it's a very good advice, because I think nowadays social media is really integrated in our lives. And I think if you are self-publishing as well, I think you get faster to your audience as well. Is what I have gathered so far.
Yeah, and people seem to like self-depreciating videos and stuff. So make fun of yourself. Be a complete idiot in front of the camera or in your writing, because I think it resonates with people. It humanizes you. Don't be perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about being you.
There you go. Be yourself, guys. Remember that.
Yeah.
So, what perspectives or beliefs have you changed with this work?
Publishers are very, very, very busy, and don't count on them. I have faith that they'll find my book eventually and maybe, ask for a book 2. Take your time, do things right, but don't seek 100% solution. Seek an 80% solution. Because if you get 80%, you'll get it done. If you try for 100%, you'll never get it done. So essentially that was one of the big, because I'm a huge 100%, give 100% all the time. That's the way my dad and my mom raised me. But you know what? It's not true. You need an 80% solution is good enough. But more importantly, get it done.
Yes, I think that comes as well with sometimes writers, because I think we are, at least some of us, seeking for perfection, which doesn't exist. I tell this all the time in my show. Perfection doesn't exist. What exists is a good story to be told, and I think what's the writer should be after.
Exactly that.
After. So, since you touched on the possible sequel, because people might ask you that. So, if you're planning a sequel, can you share a tiny bit about your plans for it, if you have any plans?
Well, if this book is as successful as I hope, one of the reasons I wrote this book as well is because the importance of the pub culture in England. So, and it's slowly dwindling because of, outside forces, duty, taxes, VAT, increase in wages. And so every week we lose another half a dozen pubs in England, and eventually the pub culture will go away. And that's one of the reasons, if it continues this way, if the government doesn't, pull their pants up and say, it's time to save our pub culture and here are the things we're going to do, which they haven't done yet, but I have faith that they will, then yes, the pub culture will be lost, the traditional English pub culture. So I wrote this book to keep the stories alive. So, which brought me to the second idea for an idea for the second book, is what I'd like to do is go across England, actually the UK, find non-tied, proper free house pubs, so independently owned pubs, find out what their story is and their favorite recipe, and publish that. So, the funniest story, the most incredible story, or something that changed their lives within the pub, or changed whatever, doesn't really matter. But interview maybe, 75 pubs and get a story and a recipe, and then do that as book 2 to keep the stories alive.
Yeah, that's so interesting why you're saying that, because my past shows was actually about nonfiction on travel, and that it's just so fascinating what you're talking about, because yes, that pop culture needs to be alive. It cannot just disappear just out of nowhere. I completely agree. Because it's part of British culture on itself as well. So I imagine with all these high taxes, and I will say probably forces outside as well, trying to reap everything they can with power and control. It's mostly control. So if you can, do you know any specific, I don't know specific, but probably some incidents that happened because of that? Does your pub have some changes, do you think? If you can share, of course.
So I don't have the pub anymore. So I owned it from 2014 to 2021. And it was I just bought the end of the lease, and it was a property company that owned the building. I bought the business. So at the end of the lease, they saw how successful I was. They saw I had full bums in seats every night, every lunch. I had 3 services of 60 people per day in a tiny little village pub, because I served good food and we were successful. We had a successful model. So they quadrupled the rent.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is where a government can come in and say, let's protect the small business and cap any increase to market or something along that line. So there are things that the government can do to mitigate this kind of lack of support or lack of control or greed. And basically I turned around and said, I don't work for free. So
yes.
here are the keys. They're like, what do you mean? You're successful. Why are you leaving the pub? I don't work for free. I'm not working for you. I'm working for me. And so handed in the keys, and then 2 weeks later, COVID hit. So
Ooh,
it was
yeah.
like, yay, this is great. Yeah, it was a great decision at the time. And now I'm helping out pubs as chef, or I help them manage pubs. If they want to go on holiday, I will help, I'll take over the pub so that they can go on holiday worry-free, that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, I imagine it was very hard for you because how you described the situation and how difficult that was. Yes, not necessarily with pubs, but in the past, probably 2 years, I used to do a volunteer job here on the Alice Hospice here on Feltham, and they just closed doors.
mhm.
And the reason was because of that.
Yeah, yeah,
This is rising and rising. So
too many people want too many pieces of small businesses, and that has to stop if you want small businesses to succeed. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing a bunch of Nando's and McDonald's on every corner, and no local, independent retailers.
yeah, so now a little bit of a note about coming back to writing because now it was me who just touched this a little bit, but I wanted people to realize the importance, and I think all of this stuff relates as well with I have also talked about on my show about the traveling and some tips that actually some authors out there actually go and write the books as well. So more in a positive tone. How did you come up with the title for your book?
Well, there is an actual shit on the ceiling story. So, I mean, it is insane how, and it had to be the cover of the book. And, the problem with being a small business is you have very interesting patrons and staff and customers and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, people lie to you, people steal from you, and there's poop on the ceiling. So so that had to be this. It didn't take me long to come up with the title. It was like, yep, that's the story. Somehow shit in the ceiling has to be on the title, and that was
That
it.
feels very much intuitive to you. The title come up to you, if I have to
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, because of your experience. Yeah, I don't think people realize the retail job. It's so hard, so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, everyone wants a piece of you. It doesn't matter who it is, but if somebody sees you as successful, they want to be part of that success, and they can do that through lies, theft, and poop on the ceiling.
It's true. So, how would you describe your book's ideal reader, if you have any?
It's actually very generic readership. Anybody who loves food would love my book because I have every recipe I had at the pub is in this book, even my award-winning ribs. So I make the best smoked ribs you've ever eaten in your entire life. The recipe's in there. So if you love food, you'll love that book. If you like tongue-in-cheek humor, like Anthony Bourdain type of tone, that's the storyline that I've taken with this book is more of a because he was an amazing man. I watched all his shows, I read all his books, and he was my motivation in writing this book. So of course I've taken a bit of his tone in writing this book. If you like pubs, you want to know what happens behind the scenes in a pub. If you're looking to try and, everybody's dream is to own a pub.
Yep.
Silly dream. And that's a story in itself for how I got into it. But you'll want to read this book before you even think about buying a pub. Bring you back to earth kind of thing. There's a little bit of something for everyone.
I see. So, in that very positivity for people to open their pubs and with all the drinks and stuff, can you just introduce your second song, please?
Yes, of course. It Must Be Love by Madness. That was the first song that my partner Andy ever sang to me on a karaoke, and I think it was our second date.
Oh, very lovely, very lovely.
I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do.
Guys, this is what, let me check here on my list. Because I have a list as well. Madness, it must be love. I hope you guys really enjoy this song. So, Julie, I think my question will be, since you're finishing your first book, what advice would you give to a writer working on their first book?
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Just like, I mean, it took me 5 years from start to finish to get this book together. I could have probably done it in a year if I just hunkered down and got it done. Allocate a certain amount of time every day to your passion, to your book. I mean, if you're going to write a book, it's your passion, it's your baby. So just like your own babies, you're going to have to allocate some time to them. So allocate time to sitting down, writing, taking notes, journaling, voice recordings, whatever. Anytime you think of something about your book, I mean, I'm in my 50s now, so I forget things really quickly. Just as soon as you think of something, record it on a voice recorder, write it down. Don't forget, because this is gold. And if you keep doing that, then you'll have the momentum to finish what you started.
Yeah, I think it's a very good advice you are giving, because I think writers forget the power they have by holding moments that they could moments that are living in the real world, which can use it as a writing as well. And so I think it's a very good advice, really. Yeah. So now a little bit more interviews, a little bit about on you, a little bit on the fun part. So how did you celebrate when you finished your book?
I went to a pub. I did a bit of a village pub crawl. So I went to I live across the street from the pub I own. So it's now a beautiful, wonderful Bangladeshi restaurant. It's still called the Royal Oak Inn, and it's amazing, really great food. I only give them positive love and support. I actually work behind the bar occasionally there as well to help them out when they're in a bit of a pickle. So I had a few drinks there, showed off the book, and then went to the social club, the Red Line, which is up the road, and did the same thing, and got a bit pickled by the end. And yeah, some people were a bit cheesed off that I used their story, but I think they're accepting and loving it now, because their idiocies have been written in stone forever.
There you go. Yes, as you said, be a bit silly, be yourself, just have some fun. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's my other question will be as well, if you have pets ever gotten in the way of your writing?
My pets, my dogs.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! They're amazing. Oh, Juno and Vimy have always come up and cuddled, and they instinctively know when you're harassed or upset about something, or you're writer's block. Like, oh, it's so frustrating, and then they would come up and jump on the chair and put their heads on my lap and say, okay, I'm here for you, and that gives you a bit more motivation to So right now, my biggest challenge is coming up with TikTok videos and TikTok stuff, and they're a big motivator for me to come up with these things. So it's have as many pets as you want, because they're there to love, and you're and they give you the motivation to carry on.
Yes, the pets can be I think a relieving part as well. Is that I think it's serotonin. I think it's serotonin, something like that they have, which brings comfort and a little bit of healing as well. Would you say these are about dogs as well to you?
Yes. So I've had Juno. Juno was my the pub dog. So she's 12 years old now.
Oh.
And going concern. She's so lovely. And then I have Vimy. They're both Old English sheepdogs. Vimy's about 3 years old. Lovely, funny, crazy dog. And yes, they do provide a lot of mental health healing and a lot of love.
Yeah. So while you're writing or you're editing your book, do you have any snack or drink that you indulge yourself in?
I'm a sweet tooth. I do. I like the salty. I like the sweet. So I'll either have some salt and vinegar crisps. I was going to say chips, but crisps. The Canadianism's coming out. And I do like this Greek drinks called green pop. I don't know. It's very strange, but so I drink a lot of that, and candy, hard candy, crunch, crunch, crunch. So I don't know, the crunch helps me think, if that makes sense.
Oh, I see. Yes. No, yes, I can understand. Would you?
Especially cherry candy. Cherry flavored candies are my favorite.
Oh, do you know the name of the candy?
No, anything with cherry. Anything with cherry. So when I go on Amazon, I go cherry hard candy, and I just buy that.
Oh, okay, it's on an instant. Yes. So fascinating. So, do you play music while you write? And if so, what's your favorite?
I put basically Apple. I have Apple Music, so I usually put 70s, 80s, 90s. That's essentially, anything from rock. I mean, I used to be really into death metal and all that kind of stuff. But as I grew older, I was, went from that to punk to rock to classic rock. So now it's just very eclectic taste in music.
Yeah. Well, what a transformation, I will say. Yeah.
Yeah.
From something very heavy for something a little bit soft to now. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. The ears can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's true. So, let me see. Yeah. What do you need in your writing space to help you stay focused?
Um, Lots of light. Um, Yeah, lots of light. Being alone in a room. I'll let one dog in maybe if I feel up to it. But yeah, if to get really focused, I close the door and I just hunker down. Bit of music in the background. Typically, like I said, 70s, 80s, 90s. Um, yeah, sometimes I'll put some really um, those silly romance movies in the background. The Harlequin Christmas romance movies,
Yeah.
which is weird because I don't particularly like them, but it calms my mind and clears my mind for more creative writing, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. So, you talked about, I think, minutes ago about an author and how they inspired you. So, if you could spend a day with another popular author, who would you choose?
Ooh, Margaret Atwood, I think. She's brilliant writing and storytelling, Handmaid's Tale, and yeah, I would say I spend a day with Margaret Atwood. I would sponge that brain for hours. Like she's so brilliant.
Do you have any reason why would you spend time with her?
I just she's well beyond her years. I mean, she wrote those books, decades and decades and decades ago, and today they're a really popular series, and and she's stayed so relevant and to this day, especially with the government overpowering and control and all that kind of stuff. I'd want to know what made her think of writing it then, where it really brings to light what's happening today, especially with digital ID and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'd be the reason, just to sponge her brain.
Yeah, it's really interesting because now you're touching that about technology and stuff and supervillains and etc. So interesting how many authors back then are most, at least I'm going to say this, but of course they're not here alive, unfortunately, to tell us how they thought about us back in the time. But it sounds like they predicted the future in a way. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
like
terrifying.
1984, and yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
But what made them think of it then? And and the thing is, if we wrote a book about it today, what would happen to that book?
That is
You know,
true.
it's very interesting.
It's a philosophical way. It's a philosophical, perhaps, question for another time. Because now, would you like Julie to introduce your third song, please?
Yes, of course. I would like to introduce Creep by Radiohead. So at our pub, we had karaoke every couple of Fridays, and this became Andy and my wonderfully awful karaoke tradition in kicking off our karaoke night.
like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so fucking special. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Don't care if I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
And this is a very popular song, but I think it's absolutely fantastic as well. It is Ride Your Head, Creep. I'm really hope you guys feeling nostalgic because this is about nostalgia as well. So thank you so much for Julie to bring us today. So my one question will be more focused on your writing. It is what you say is the best way to improve writing skills.
Practice makes perfect, right? So, find your style, find your tone, and practice that until you're 80 to 100% happy with that. So, what I mean by that is, everybody has a different writing style. Everybody has a different voice. And also keep in mind who you're writing to. You're not writing this book for yourself. You're writing it to share. And who do you want to share it to? And keep your discipline in that. But yeah, practice is the best way forward on this one.
And there is no other way around. We can escape it.
No, you can't escape it. And do a little bit every day. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, I loved writing. I've always loved writing. In school, I liked writing. Anytime somebody said, can you write an essay, blah, 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 I'd be like, yeah, and everybody else would be, boo, because I loved writing. And I went into communications, in early working career, communications, marketing, that sort of thing. Did some speech writing, as I said before, news releases and all that kind of stuff. And I hated it. I hated that kind of writing. So yeah, this is much better. Doing personal passion writing is so empowering.
So, would you say is your favorite writing software of software?
I use Word. It's just Microsoft Word, or a notebook. I have a trusty notebook. Handwriting. I'm old school, so that's it. It's a notebook and Word. Although I did buy a what's it called? I don't remember what it's called, but it's an electronic notebook that it feels like a pen. That was a lot of fun using for a while. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Writable, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's fun. Because it's a tablet, very light, and it feels like you're writing on paper with a pen. And so you get the new school with the old school all in one.
Oh, that's actually pretty brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you say is your favorite blogs or websites for writers?
I don't follow any big blogs or websites, but I have to say Facebook and LinkedIn have a huge groups, a huge number of groups and for writers and authors, promoters, that sort of thing. And I do a lot of research in there. How do I blah blah blah, and within seconds you have 1,000 responses and advice. So I use Facebook and LinkedIn a lot to seek advice and research.
Yeah, I see. So, in your writing, specific and emotional or difficult scene, how do you set up the mood?
I have a bunch of these stories in my book that are emotionally odd. And I think trying to find some humor in it is probably the way to deal with any kind of like especially the shit on the ceiling. At the time, it wasn't funny. It was not funny at all. Actually, the funny part of it is Andy and I were having the biggest fight we've ever had. We weren't talking to each other. I don't think we'd talked to each other for three days at that point. We were just typical couples therapy, couples anger, and then this thing happened. And I couldn't deal with it on my own. So I had to go upstairs and go, Andy, I need your help.
Yeah.
So yeah, a poop on the ceiling story is perfect for couples therapy for sure. So he comes down, we, and work together to fix the problem. So yeah, you can find humor in anything.
Oh, that's very interesting to see how you set up the mood, because usually, for example, people, I don't know, use music or use some lighting as well, but you just, you have your partner, so you together, you just try to find the ways to do this stuff, which is really, really cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. So on that matter of the writing and your process as well, how do you trust for objective and constructive criticism of your work?
If somebody gives me constructive criticism, so one of the things that using TikTok and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, you get all these comments and you get all these keyboard warriors that love to criticize, and I'll take constructive criticism on the chin any day of the week. You say, I don't like this because of this, and this is the way you should do it going forward. Give me that any day of the week. But just say, you suck. That's stupid. There's nothing constructive about that. So I ignore those because they don't mean anything. If you want to criticize, but criticize with a solution or criticize with meaning. Don't just say you suck, if that makes sense.
No, this makes sense. I completely agree with you, because offering feedback and criticism can also demoralize the writer as well. People can say, this part of writing didn't work because of this, and then they explain why. But then when they say, "Oh, you suck," but then there's no explanation, which is already, yeah, thank you, just passing by and say, "Suck," yeah, whatever. So, yeah, I agree with this. It really impacts a lot of writers.
I agree. And to take it into just general work environment, I mean, at the pub, I was on TripAdvisor, and I had a 5-star rating, solid 5-star on all our food and everything. And then the occasional, like, if you know, I remember one of my staff, I had to fire him for some reason. It's in the book, and
Yeah.
he ended up writing this scathing review on TripAdvisor.
Oh.
So I go on and respond to it in an even more scathing, because you don't go into a pissing contest with a writer, because they'll get you every time. So I had people come to my pub, seek my pub out because of my brutal response to this person. They're like,
Oh.
yeah. So don't be scared of these. Respond to them as well. Like, if they're being complete morons, call them out. And the more people call them out, then this will get reduced in time. So use that as a challenge. Use that as an opportunity to showcase your greatness, by demeaning their patheticness, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. Also, I think builds also some confidence as well in the writer.
Yeah, it helps you. It helps with confidence for sure.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah,
If
sure.
it makes you feel bad, get it back and give it a little back, and it'll make you feel better.
Yeah, it's true. So I think will be a very interesting part for me to ask you questions about authors and books as well. So, what books are you enjoying reading right now?
Oh God, I've been writing for so long, and editing my book.
No, I'm sorry. I mean reading.
Reading, yes, no, but I haven't had time a lot.
Oh, I see.
Recent times. God, trying to think. Sorry about this. What do I read? Oh God, I haven't read a book in ages. That's
Oh,
the.
bless you.
I know. Oh, because last time I was on vacation, I focused on doing my own blogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do like thriller type books. I mean, I'm a big fan of Stephen King.
Mhm.
I do like Piers Anthony, so old school kind of thriller books. Oh God, I'm trying to remember. There's a series where this ex-military guy goes and saves people, and there's a couple of TV series on him. I don't remember the series of books.
Yeah.
It's that kind of action books. But when I'm on holiday, I do read mindless smut. So
Oh, I see. Yeah.
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 Again, so I apologize for not answering the question.
No, that's fine, because sometimes I think I think life gets so busy that sometimes it's impossible to try to find a way to read it.
Yeah, no, I've been focusing on this, but typically, I like thrillers. I like action type books, and then, like I said, when I'm on the beach, it's mindless smut.
Mindless smut.
Harlequin romance all the way.
Yeah. Touching on that smut, actually, would you say, I would say with probably supervision, that smut books should be on bookshops?
Yes, of course. It's up to the parents to educate their kids on what's right and what's wrong, and what is life for real and what is life for fantasy, and guide the children. If the children, I don't want to say children, but like, let's say a teenager or a young teenager decides that she wants to, or he wants to read smutty book, then read it with them and have that conversation to saying, okay, what do you think of this? Do you think this happens in real life? Do you think this should happen in real life? And mitigate their expectations of life.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good advice. I mean, smut is just fantasy; it does not exist.
Exactly.
Yes, of course, sometimes we put some let's say, realism in that. But at the end of the day, it's just a book. It's fiction. It doesn't meant to be realistic in the first place. And I think having that conversation with for example, a teenager, adolescents, about, okay, this is well written, but what happens in real life, how it is, and what is acceptable and not. I think will spark interesting conversations as well, definitely, because they're in transition of becoming an adult.
Exactly. I mean, I remember one of my first novels I've ever read, I think I was 9 years old, was Piers Anthony on a Pale Horse in that series. So, I mean, and he doesn't pull his punches when it comes to sexual tension and sexual innuendos and stuff like that. So, and I understood them at 9, but I was also really comfortable talking to my parents about it if something made me feel uncomfortable, because my parents were very open in terms of drinking, smoking, drugs, and all that kind of stuff, which also reduced my interest in it because they were open about it. It's the kids are scared or are interested in the unknown. And if you say, no, you can't read that book, what are they going to do? They're going to go to the bookshop and go buy that book. Or, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So don't tell them no, but guide them into how they manage their expectations in the future.
Yes, and on the same topic as well, some authors really write smart for a living. Others just include some smart here and there on the books. Would you say many people think that the authors are responsible if a kid comes up? What would your opinion of that?
No, I don't think the authors are responsible. I mean, that's their passion, that's their baby, that's their output. They put the output there, they put their thoughts there, and it's up to whoever, it's buyer beware, right? So it's up to the buyer to realize what they're buying, and if they don't like it, you know what? You can just shut the book and put it away or throw it in the garbage. You know, you're not forced to reading it.
Yes, it's true. I do agree. And everything thought that the creatives have responsibility for other children, I think it's not very good.
No,
it's not the writer's responsible to say to the kids, this is your responsibility now, leave me alone. It's not
exactly. I mean, if you have a book full of, borderline or right sexual innuendos in there, at best, maybe put a little sign,
warning,
and that's it. I mean, my book doesn't have any smut, but it has a lot of swear words.
Yes, swear words, yes. It could be another conversation as well about the swear words. So and my next question will be, before we introduce our next song, it will be, what books did you grow up reading? Do you remember?
Oh, like I said, Piers Anthony, Stephen King. One of my favorites called Flowers on a Petal or something. Petal of a Flower. I read that about 500 times, but for some reason I can't remember the name of the title. It's because I'm over 50. Those types of books. But I really did enjoy Shakespeare in school, in high school. I really enjoyed the English class. We read 1984, Fahrenheit, everything, Handmaid's Tale. So I grew up with all those books. I'm really sad to see them out of the school system today, to be fair.
Oh, interesting. So, now I guess let's introduce your fourth song.
Right, so I apologize in advance for this song. It's My Hump by Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
It's purely because Isabel and Amelia, my nieces, dared me to provide you that song. But that only proves that family will happily sacrifice your dignity for their own amusement. So, for you, Amelia and Isabel.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside your trunk?
I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off my hump, 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 my lovely little lumps. Check it out, I drive these brothers crazy, I do it on the daily. They treat me really nicely, they buy me all these ices, Dolce and Gabbana, Fendi and Adana. touch it. I say no, but they keep giving, so I keep on taking. And no, I ain't taking. We can keep on dating. I keep on demonstrating my love, my love, my love, my love. You love my lady love, my hump, my hump, my hump, my humps. They got you.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me and spending time on me.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me, on me,
What you
on
gonna
me.
do with all that junk inside that trunk?
I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off my hump.
What you gonna do with all that ass inside that jeans?
I'ma make you scream, make you scream, make you scream. Cause of my hump, my hump, my hump, my hump.
What?
My hump, my hump, my hump. My lovely lady lump. Check it out.
I met a girl down at the disco. She said, hey, yeah, let's go. I could be your baby, you could be my honey. Let's spend time, not money, and mix your milk with my cocoa pup. Milky cocoa, mix your milk with my cocoa pup. Milky,
They
right?
say I'm really sexy. The boys they wanna sex me. They always standing next to me, always dancing next to me, trying to feel my hump, hump, looking at my lump. You can look, but you can't touch it. If you touch it, I'ma start some drama. You don't want no drama, no drama, no drama. So don't pull on my hand, boy. You ain't my man, boy. I'm just trying to dance, boy, and move my hump, 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 my hump. My lovely lady love, my lovely lady love, my lovely lady love. In the back and in the front, my love ain't got you.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me and spending time on me.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me, on me,
What you
on
gonna
me.
do with all that junk inside that trunk?
I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off my hump.
What you gonna do with all that ass inside the jeans?
I'ma make you scream, make you scream, make you scream.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside that trunk?
I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off this hump.
What you gonna do with all that breasts inside that shirt?
I'ma make you work, make you work, make you work.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me and spending time on me.
She's got me spinning.
Spending all your money on me, on me, on me.
Yes, as Julie said, this music's really quite on the note, so keep in mind the Black Eyed Peas, my humps. I really have to research what the word means, and yes, just for those who are listening, yes, just keep in mind this is it has some rhyme in it, but also yeah, this is pretty much American, so you guys will see. So thank you so much, Julie, for bringing. In this case, Yoni's suggestion, because it was who suggested the music.
Yes. So the reason I asked them for their suggestion is because they had a big part in me helping write this book, especially with the caricatures and introducing me to AI this year and that sort of thing, and getting me out of the writer's block or the block of doing So yeah, I had to get their input for this music for sure.
Okay, so continue now on the authors and the books as well. Would you say was there any book that inspired you to become a writer?
No. I mean, I never thought I'd ever write a book. This was not in the cards. But it was the journal, and I was sitting down on the floor. As we were packing our stuff, Andy and I going through these journals, and we're thinking of throwing them out.
Yeah.
And then we started, reminiscing and going, "Oh, it'd be sad for these stories to be lost," and that's where the idea came. And that was, during COVID as well. So everybody's isolated, and we saw the writing on the wall in terms of the pub culture. One of the things I think is doing a massive disservice to our youth today is social media and the phone and all that kind of stuff. And whereas when I grew up, going to the pub and being part of the community, or going to church, being part of the community, was a massive part of socialization, which I think COVID really did a disservice to your youth, and they've lost that socialization for the most part. So so I think it's really important to get the stories out there and get them in book form, so they're not lost forever. If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I think COVID really, I would say, destroyed the love of the social we've got. I think destroyed, yes. So on the touch of the books, do you prefer ebooks, printed books, audiobooks most of the time, or you it just doesn't matter to you?
You know, when I'm on holiday, I bring an ebook. I have my Kindle. If I'm sitting at home, I prefer paper, reading a book on like a proper old school paper book. And I can't sleep without an Audible. So I stick my sleeper headphones in. Whatever book right now, I'm listening to Outlander series. So I think I'm on the third book on the Outlander series. But it puts me to sleep. And it makes my dreams nicer. I mean, I'm ex-military, so I do suffer from PTSD a little bit. And one of my previous psychologist told me that, in order to get rid of the night terrors, reframe your thought processes before you sleep. And a great way to do that is, positive audiobooks or really engaging story audiobooks, and then listen to them as you fall asleep, and they will drive your dreams. And it's true. It's true. So yeah, if it's a really smutty part of Outlander, then my dreams are a lot better.
There you go. Yes, something helps. So now this is a very much on the curiosity question. So if you could be mentored by a famous author, who would it be?
If he was alive, it'd be Anthony Bourdain, because I just loved his drive, his love of life, his love of travel, food, his passion. I mean, I'm a chef as well, and that it would definitely be Anthony Bourdain, no question, no question at all.
Yeah, all right. So, also, so as you know, touched it, you have some PTSD, and also you write it about the food and the pubs. Would you say that writing is a kind of a spiritual or therapeutic practice?
Yes,
Sorry.
Absolutely. No, it is. I mean, one of the things that, so we call them gremlins, like when you suffer from PTSD. One of the things that helped me a lot was not writing, was actually doing the Camino de Santiago. I don't know if you know. So it's a pilgrimage across Spain or Portugal. So I've done it about 4 or 5 times, different routes, and that actually helped my writing a lot, in the sense that I was on my own. I could record my thoughts and then sit afterwards and write down the thoughts and conglomerate different chapters of the book and stuff. So the Camino was a big part of actually getting some of those stories down on paper. And so I've done several over the last few years, and it's an amazing way of just sponging and resetting your life and refocusing. So it was a great tool.
All right, really good. So, so my question will be just more about yourself. So, if you have to describe yourself in just 3 words, what could be those?
Oh God, passionate, crazy, and food motivated.
Food motivated. I think it goes pretty well with your book. Exactly what you're trying, isn't it? Yeah, all right. So now the questions come about for crafting inspiration. So, so as your book is more about the pubs and the traveling, a little bit of traveling as well, and the food. What is your advice for those to inspiring authors in your genre?
Travel, travel, travel. Let's do lots of traveling. Travel the world. Really have an idea beyond your bubble. So if you can pull ideas from different and how people live in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, you can expand your thought processes beyond just mid Sussex, UK. So if you're a food writer, a travel writer, just expand your horizons.
I think it's a very good way to actually to do, because it's going to help you to see other perspectives as well of culture, isn't it?
Yeah, and it broadens your approach to your own writing.
Yes, it's true. So, is there any particular scene of or passage you are incredibly proud of?
Sorry.
A particular scene or passage from your book that you are proud of?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. I'm proud of everything that's in the book, but there's 2 or 3 stories that do come out. So we had a punter that used to come into the pub every day at noon and have his Newcastle brown ale, and every Friday he would have his fish and chips. And this man was older than dirt, and he would come and walk to the pub every single day, and he would do it until he ended up in a nursing home. His name was Ron, and the locals called him Ron the Thong. And the reason they called him Ron the Thong is because he would always answer his door to the mailman wearing just a thong and big yellow marigold gloves. Crazy, crazy guy. But him and I got along so well, and he is mentioned throughout the book various times, because he was a very important aspect of the pub. And so yeah, I'm very proud of he died a few years ago, but I'm really proud of making him live forever in my book.
Yeah. Now this really sounds like you have a lot of stories to tell in your book already, at the experiences with the pubs. Do you know any specific scene that you'd like to share?
I could, yeah.
Which is very, very, very funny. Which is very funny.
Well, okay. So I'll read an excerpt about Ron. So
yeah,
if that's okay. So so he told stories with the authority of a man who had seen everything, forgotten half of it, and improved the rest. Ron could silence a room with a pause. He could start an argument with an eyebrow. He could make the past sound glorious, even when the past clearly involved damp carpets, ashtrays, and customer service practices that would now require a public apology and possibly a hazmat suit. His pub management techniques were, shall we say, rustic. He was especially proud of one tradition that made my liver flinch. Back in the day, he said, they used to save the spillages from the drip trays. Yes, those drip trays. The gray, greasy runoff from under the pumps. The liquid graveyard of overspilled fingerprints, cigarette ash, old mild, and whatever had fallen off the bar towel. They would pour it back into the mild ale barrel. Not metaphorically, not as a joke, actually pour it back in. So... yeah.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Thank you. Oh, that was fantastic.
So the book is a lot of that tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. No, it is really so fascinating, because while you're reading it, I feel like I was next to you. And you're telling me all these stories. Oh, do you know this happened with this gentleman? This happened. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, tell me more, because now I want to know all the
points. Now I gotta get the book.
Yeah. So I think it's a good moment for us to pause a little bit. And would you like to introduce our 50th song, please?
This is a very important song to me. It's a Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here, and it's for my 2 sons and daughter-in-law, and my soon-to-be granddaughter that's coming in September.
Okay.
So they all live in Canada, and it captures the bittersweet reality of loving people from the other side of the ocean.
And discipline remains mercifully.
Yes, and neither would you, Derek, this star nonsense. No, it isn't.
I'm sure of it.
So you think you could tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the wall for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have we found the same old fears? Wish you were here.
This is a very popular one, the Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. This is a very, very beautiful song, and really shows that longing for your sons to be here. So thank you so much, really, to bring up with here on the show. So still on the, let me see, yes. Yeah, so I think my questions will be on the personal side. So how did your personal experiences shape this book, would you say?
Well, I'm crazy and I get bored really easily, and I go from different jobs to different jobs. Actually, owning a pub was the longest job I've ever had, so I've done everything from diesel mechanic in the Navy, public affairs officer, having my own business in communications and marketing, and then owning the pub. And then I became a Skyhawk, which is a parachute. I was part of the Canadian Forces parachute team, and doing events and air shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And moved to England. Didn't move to England. I was actually here in England on a military exchange for 6 months on which actually it's quite a funny story. So I was here on a 6-month exchange. At the end of the thing, we had a big mess dinner where a bunch of us got go to a dinner and drink a little bit more than we should. We ended up at the Royal Oak Inn in Handcross somehow, and I got even more drunk and woke up the next morning having bought the pub, as you do. So that's how I ended up buying a pub. It was an absolute stupid, crazy idea, and I felt that it was fate telling me that I needed a massive change in my life. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm better move to England permanently and run this pub, and so that's what I did. So yeah, life changes very quickly.
Oh yes, at certain time of our lives, I think, call it the universe, call it God, whatever you want, or even ourselves. Yes, it certainly tells us, change your life. It's time. I think you've done enough. So
yeah, I agree.
Because yes, so would you say that the writing and publishing your book changed the way you see yourself?
I do. I have a bit more confidence. And I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can get a hard copy, soft copy book in hand, a physical product, and that makes a massive motivational boost in life. And I didn't even think I would write one book, let alone two. And already I've got the outline of the second book. So it's insanely motivating.
Absolutely fantastic. So, was there any surprising discoveries that you make during the writing process?
Yeah, I did. I think the main discovery would be that I wasn't going to write the stories about the villagers. I was going to change the story. I was going to change everything about it and make it so that they don't recognize themselves in it, because I was going to feel bad. But I decided that was a really wrong approach. We needed to get the right stories out there, and the only thing I changed was their names. So for some of them, I actually approached a number of them, which I thought were really important to showcase who they are. One of them is Robbie, who was a 13-year-old that I hired as a pot wash. I know, illegally, but he was so keen and he so wanted to work hard. And today he's a head chef on a Navy ship. So he joined the Navy, and I was part of that. I was a part of that journey, and that makes me incredibly proud for doing what I did and opening up the door. So of course I did not change his name. And then there's Neil, who was my bar manager, who was there with me from day one to day end. And I couldn't have done it without it. There's a couple of stories about him in the book. One being where I left on holiday for a week, well-deserved holiday, and I came back, and him and his husband painted my whole pub and redecorated the rooms upstairs to turn it into an Airbnb. So, of course, I couldn't change his name either, because this is incredible love.
Oh, yes, I imagine. Oh, bless you. So, is there any genre or format you haven't tried yet but would like to do?
In terms of writing or reading?
Writing.
Writing. I would love to put my finger into some smut writing, to be fair. I don't have the imagination to do any kind of thriller, sci-fi stuff, but like I mentioned earlier about walking the Camino de Santiago, I would love to write a mystery, historical romance mystery, fiction book based on the Camino de Santiago. So that would be one of my fantasy type writing objectives.
That's already a very good start, with some thriller and mystery, yes. And some supernatural as well.
Romance on the Camino,
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I think it's a good moment for us to give a little pause as well. Would you introduce your sixth song, please?
Yes, of course. I'd like to introduce Barrett's Privateers by Stan Rogers. So that instantly takes me back to my years in the Canadian Navy. So this is pretty much its unofficial anthem.
Oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. A letter of remark came from the king to the scummiest vessel I've ever seen. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. Oh, well, Sid Barrett cried the town, how I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. For 20 brave men, all fishermen, who would make for him the Antelope's crew. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. The Antelope sloop was a sickening sight. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. She'd a list to the port and her sails in rags, and the cook in the scuppers with the staggers and jags. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. On the King's birthday we put to sea. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. We were 91 days to Montego Bay, pumping like madmen all the way. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. On the 96th day we sailed again. I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. When a bloody great Yankee hove in sight, with our cracked 4-pounders we made to fight. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. The Yankee lay low down with gold. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. She was broad and fat and loose in stays, but to catch her took the Antelope 2 whole days. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. Then at length we stood 2 cables away. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. Our cracked 4-pounders made an awful din, but with one fat ball the Yanks stove us in. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. The Antelope shook and pitched on her side. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. Barrett was smashed like a bowl of eggs, and the main truck carried off both men eggs. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. So here I lay in my 23rd year. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. It's been 6 years since we sailed away, and I just made Halifax yesterday. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers.
Wow, what a music! Thank you so much for introducing us, Julie. From Stan Rogers, Barrett's Privateers. Thank you so much to introduce us to the song, Julie. So I think it's not reaching its end yet, but certainly I think I will ask more about you as an author, your journey. So how do you find your journey as an author thus far?
You know, it's frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating, but there's a lot of support out there. So as long as you know where to go to get it, it can get you out of the frustration, because everywhere you turn around, there's a block. So while you're writing, you get writer's block. When you're finished writing, then you're trying to get a publisher, you're getting blocked there. Then you decide to be a self-publisher, you get blocked there as well because Amazon, everything's got to be so perfect. Same with Ingram Sparks and Barnes and Noble. Everything has, you know, your design has to be 9.67 centimeters or millimeters and stuff like that. Like it's so that, you know, they block it at every stand. I mean, my book almost didn't get published on time because my cover page said lies, theft, and shit with an asterisk on the ceiling, and then my title page said shit in its whole word. So, and that blocked the publishing.
No.
So there's frustrations at every single turn. So that's what I would say is don't be scared of the blocks. Just work through it and get it done in any way you can get it done. And you know, like anything in life, there's process. Just follow the process and dot your I's and cross your T's.
So what would you say is your pros and cons as a self-publisher?
As a self-publisher, the pro is control. You have control over every aspect. You can set your date, you know, everything is great. The con is everyone wants a piece of this. Amazon takes a big chunk, printers take a big chunk, and you're left with a tiny little bit at the end. To be fair, I didn't write this book to make any money on it. I wrote this book to make sure the stories get told, and they're there for infinity, because once it's in book form, it's there forever, especially electronically and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the pros would be control, the cons would be funds.
Yeah, no, I imagine, yes. And on the topic as well, your advice for an author that wants to bring in self-publishing and is concerned about the money, to receive it and also to play a little bit with covers and the editors, etc.
Right. So if you are writing books to purely make money, you're going down the wrong lane. I mean, it's a massive journey, and it's a job in itself. So writing the book is easy. You know, it's the stuff that happens after it's hard, which is why people prefer publishers, because publishers know all the ins and outs of how to get your book out there, how to market it, how to do book signings, how to position it for a specific demographic. If you don't have any experience in that, things get really difficult really, really fast when you're self-publishing. Like I said, I've never done Twitter until about 6 weeks ago. And through the help of my nieces and my cousins and the younger crowd guiding me into, how to do my videos. And, I used to be 100% on everything. I want to do everything. Everything's got to be perfectly, curated before I press send. Now I'll do one take and I'll send it, whether even though I didn't say the word right or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, and that humanizes you and publishes, and you get more following from that. So, but it's learning all these aspects of marketing that is the hard part. Is a lot harder than writing the book.
Yeah, yes, because you have to have at least some, I'll say, some monetary side, because you have to pay all the stuff as well, because you're doing yourself.
That's right. So you save a bit of pennies, because an editor will cost you a few thousand. A book designer, I had to learn InDesign because I designed my own book, because I couldn't afford to get a designer to do it, because it's a few £1,000s, right?
Yeah.
So learn InDesign. It's not hard. You just Google, how do I do this? Google will tell you exactly how to do it step by step, and take your time. I actually went to France to stay with my cousins for 6 weeks just to design the book. So and that's when I got into TikTok and all that kind of stuff with the young cousins. So if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. Don't wait on a publisher, because like with me, I've been ghosted is a mean thing to say, but essentially they're so busy out there with all the stuff that they're getting from AI or people who are writing themselves. I can understand their difficulties to respond to everyone. It's impossible.
And not impossible, but also I would think that it's another competition as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people applying the same stuff for the same genre.
Well, interestingly enough, there's nothing out there like mine. I Googled. There's no book out there that is anecdotal stories about pubs with recipes attached. There's nothing that does exist. So this is very unique. Luckily, I have no competition.
There you go. The beautiful to be unique in its own way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Happy at the moment with your life as an author.
Oh, I love it. I mean, honestly, so the authorship allowed me to expand my social standings, and increase my, allowed me to do a bit of extra traveling and stuff, and having people come to me and say, "Oh, you should write a book," and I'm like, "But I have," and then and they get all excited, and no, I got a really great positive following on both Facebook and TikTok, a little bit on Instagram. I don't know how to use that yet, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And but people coming to you on the street going, "Hey, I heard about your book," or "Hey, I love what you posted about this blog." I do have a series called Julie Will Go Anywhere. Anyway, it's a solo travel blogging, and it's empowering women in their late 40s, 50s, 60s to travel on their own and not be scared, because life doesn't stop if you get divorced or your husband dies or stuff like that. Just continue living life. And so writing has helped me expand my horizons, my own horizons. So this is about the pub. Then I've got Julie is Going Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got the travel blog, and then you've got, so it's amazing. It's an amazing life, I have to say.
That's a very interesting blog that you talked about. Do you say it's actually getting popularity as well because of the topic on itself, because it's empowering women to go out by themselves and travel?
Yeah, I have about a 700,000 viewership on
great.
that. Yeah. So, but it all intertwines, right? One feeds off the other, and that's something else I would say aspiring authors is if you can get different subject matters that can actually feed and connect, and that way you're able to address different audiences and different demographics. So this book is for people who like foods and pubs, but that could be mainly men, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Or the travel blogging can appeal to women over the age of 40, but they interconnect.
Yeah.
So by appealing in a blog to women over the age of 40 and writing a book that appeals to men, pub going men, you could sell one to the other, if that makes sense. So it's expand your horizons. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Don't be hard on yourself, I think.
Yeah. Make it easy. Find tons of different loves and passions, and but have them work not against each other, but with each other.
Yes, in communion.
In communion, exactly.
Yes. So now that you are very happy with your life as an author and people recognize you, how do your kids find about that as well? How they are?
Oh God, my sons are embarrassed, but my nieces think it's cool. Actually, Andy, my partner, thinks sometimes it gets really embarrassing. I mean, we were in Turkey a few months ago, and people were coming right up to us 6, 7, 8 times a day. "Oh, your gravy stains! Oh, come buy you a beer. Let's do it, and let's have a chat." And I love that. But Annie's a bit more shy and quite British, and I found that a little disturbing. But at the end, I think he really embraced it. My sons, they're very proud of what I've done, but they live busy lives themselves. I mean, my youngest is having his first baby in September, and he's just been accepted in the police services in Ottawa. And then my oldest is setting up a career in boxing and stuff like that. So Lots of things going on, but they are very proud, and then my nieces are crazy. So and I love them to death, and you know, I hope they're as crazy as I am when they grow up.
I hope so, because yes, I mean, as you said, we have to be ourselves, and we have to be a little bit silly.
You have to. Life's too short to be miserable for even a minute. And it actually, for every minute you're miserable, you lose 2 minutes in life. And if you carry on with your life that way, you're going to be a happy person.
Yeah. So, would you say that your book about pubs and about your experiences have changed people's lives? When they come to you and say, "Oh, I've read your book, that I love it," what would you say?
I think it's still early doors yet, but I have spoken to some key personnel at CAMRA, which is Campaign for Real Ale folks, which are a huge proponent of keeping the pub culture live and well. And a couple of these guys have read excerpts or read the book in its entirety, and they're looking to see how they can showcase the book within their not marketing, but their communications and other projects, and see how that can help. Because I think if the story comes out that, you know, the importance of pubs and you know, there's a couple of chapters at the end of the book that basically speaks about pubcos and how they're destroying the independent pub. There's the government, you know, and the COVID, how that destroyed the, you know, a good chunk of the pub culture, where there was no support from government, or very little support from government, in terms of managing rents during COVID and stuff like that. A lot more could have been done to save a lot of the pubs that have closed down. Also, a lot of pubs are being turned into housing, which takes away from that independent pub. So getting those important subjects out there and educating people on you know, why pubs are important, and also educating pubs on what they need to do to change in order to stay modern and stay, you know, like, so the Gen Z generation right now doesn't drink as much as, you know, me as a Gen X. So, you know, offer low alcohol or no alcohol stuff, or different food offerings, or different entertainment, that sort of thing, to stay open. You can't just stay an old, you know, quintessential English boozer forever.
Yeah, so your advice would be for them to also to adapt to the circumstances according to the times.
To the times and your demographic. Know your demographic, know your people. The number one responsibility of a pub is not to give alcohol. It's to give a social place for people to gather. That it's a public house, public people going into a house to socialize and to talk and not to be lonely at home. Right. And that's their main objectives, is to offer a place for socialization.
And with the positivity on its own, your seventh song, please.
Sure. Home for a Rest by Spirit of the West. It reminds me of the Canada pub restaurant culture that I grew up with, which basically funneled me into probably buying a pub in England, although drunk, but I think that had a lot to do with it.
Excuse me, I'm not in my best. I've been gone for a month. I've been drunk since I left. These so
That wasn't a very interesting music. Spirit of the West, Home for a Rest. I think this is very positive actually, because when I was listening the song, I was also reading the lyrics, and it's a energetic song with this one,
Oh,
isn't
nice.
it? Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
It's one of my favorite songs, and it really brings home home for a rest, but it brings home like the pub environment, the social aspect, the
Yeah.
family, the church, the everything, everything that's important in anybody's life.
We're coming to an end of the show, and I want to thank you so much, Julie, to come and to just talk about your, not just your book, but about pubs and the importance as well. So please, could you just shout out to the people when they can find you in the social media? When they can
Yeah, so I'm Gravy Stains and Tall Tales, so both on Facebook and TikTok. So Gravy Stains and Tall Tales is my moniker. Yeah, so come, and my book's on Amazon, soon to be on Ingram Spark and Barnes and Noble, but right now it's on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook.
There you go, guys. So now, could you just, pardon me, would you now introduce your last song?
I sure can. So it's called Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis, and that reflects how I try to live my life. I've experienced plenty of triumphs and disasters and heartbreak and reinventions and unexpected adventures, but every single one of them has led me to where I am today. If my book has a soundtrack, yeah, that's it. That's the song.